ladies and gentlemen. Sean Sims here with Moment a Minute. I got my brother Charles Williams with me, and we are on episode 20. And Charles, tell the people what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Our conversation is about forms of listening and in relationships. Are you listening to learn, listening to love, listening to criticize, or listening to respond? The listening to criticize and respond are the same. And the idea is that, are you participatory listening? Are you listening to participate in the conversation, to engage? Like, if you're listening with love and listening to participate, you can't go wrong. But if you don't have your own personal stuff together and you're listening and you're on a defensive and you're listening to respond that everything your partner says to you is an attack, you won't go far.
All right. So there was another thing, not something else.
And then the idea was having all that, having someone listen to you. And also the importance of being covered by a godly woman.
Godly, the importance of being covered by a godly. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listening is very difficult to do, especially when you feel like you're being criticized or attacked or told that you're doing something wrong. It's just not easy to take, right? And so in my experience within my former marriage, right,
Mm-hmm.
that was a huge thing for me. Like, I didn't feel heard. And I didn't feel heard because the defensive mechanism within my ex-wife was always there. And so it didn't come from me. It came from her upbringing and how she dealt with her pain in the past, how she dealt with other men, how she dealt with, her parents coming up. And so in our relationship, it was a very conflictual thing, especially when we got entanglement. We got entangled, or we had an argument.
You say that word entanglement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get entangled with something.
I keep thinking about Jada Smith.
I don't give a shit why you think about Jada Smith. That's what it is. I don't know why that came up or what was going on. Her in that situation. You talking about her and Will?
Her, Will, or whoever.
Yeah, I don't care about
entanglement.
That. Yeah.
Entanglement. The whole song sticks in my head.
Okay, well, yeah.
You can't pick a better word.
It's a good word. Entanglement. Good word, because you get caught up and stuff. You get tangled up.
They caught up.
Caught up. Entanglement. What's the difference, dude? Just get on it.
Entanglement.
Anyway, so when my ex-wife and I, we would get into a disagreement,
Mm-hmm.
She would automatically defend, and she wouldn't listen to me, and it hurt a lot, because I became misunderstood a lot of times when I was just trying to express to her what was on my heart. I then became the bad guy and she the victim, right? And so as she's a therapist, so I would be like, yo, I had to tell her a few times, do I have to pay you for you to listen to me? Right? And so for me, that if I'm in another relationship, or which I am, that can't happen. It can't happen. We're not going far if you can't hear me, if you can't listen to me. And so you ever heard of active listening? Yeah. So active listening is a really good way to respond when you're feeling criticized or attacked by your spouse, right? So it causes you not to listen to respond, but it causes you to actually listen to hear that person, and so what you have to do is, once that person is talking to you about how you may have made them feel, how you may have hurt them, how they're disappointed in something that you did or didn't do, then that forces you to have to repeat what they said. And so once you do that, you automatically have to listen to hear what they're saying and try to hear what's really on their heart if they can't express that. And for men, wow, we have a difficult time communicating those feelings to begin with. And so sometimes, a lot of times I would have to be like, I need to leave.
Right.
Like, and because it was very combative, a lot of times she wouldn't hear that either. And I would just have to walk out the room and leave the situation, because it wasn't productive, number one. It wasn't healthy. It wasn't kind or loving. And I just had to remove myself, because early on in our marriage, I would find myself just going back at her. And I would say things that hurt her. And I would say things that, of course, she never forgot and would bring up years later. or still have that in her mind about how I attacked her before. And so I had to stop doing that and just walk away to collect my thoughts and maybe come back to her and to express to her how I feel.
So, I guess the question I would ask is, do you feel like you could have done something different or better? And what are you doing different or better in your current relationship?
So yes. But I changed. Like early on, like I explained to you early on in my marriage, I would fight. I would fight her back, not physically, but verbally. We would go, back and forth. And then after years and years of counseling, marital counseling, I found that, of course that doesn't work. It only continues to hurt the person. I got hurt. I hurt her. And so that wasn't a really healthy way to respond. And so, when they talk to us about active listening, did I do it 100%? No, because still you get angry, especially when you feel like the other person isn't listening to you, and that's a trigger, right? And so I would just have to leave. And so and she would sometimes call me names because I was leaving. Right. Still attacking me when I was trying to exit the conversation because the conversation wasn't productive. It was continuing to hurt the relationship. And so I didn't want to do that. But what I do now is I don't have that same type of partner. And so it's different. And so she now listens to me and hears me and can just, without having to fight back all the time.
Okay.
That she listens to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the thing is that, so I guess that you feel, now I feel like you have somebody that listens to you with love.
Right.
Listens to learn.
Right.
And cares about your feel.
Right.
So I guess the other thing, coming from a situation where someone listens to respond, i.e. the case in point that you say, hey, I don't like this. Well, I don't like this either. That's looking to respond. When couples who do that, I never understand how they do that.
Well, it's a tit for tat thing. So you did this, and so because you're telling me I did that, well, what about what you did?
Right, but
yeah.
it never resolves anything.
No,
right?
No.
I remember being in relationships and I just like I have this whole philosophy, right? Because as a man, I think I'm doing good, but I could always do better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember having this conversation, and I remember just like I would sit down with somebody I was dating a while ago, and I would sit down and have a conversation, and she would ask me about a friend. I would say, hey, look, this is what I see, and now this shouldn't do this, don't do this, and you would listen to me, actively listen to me when it came to your friend's relationship because you cared about their relationship.
Right.
Well, when it came down to me, you listen defensively.
Yeah.
Because I'd say, hey.
Well, her friends aren't talking about her, aren't trying to correct her. Her friends are just telling her about situations where her friend somebody corrected her friend, or she got into an argument with. So her friend is not trying to change her or talk to her about what she needs to do differently. So she has no emotional connection to that. But when you're trying to talk to her and tell her, this is what I need, this is what I'm not receiving, this is what needs to change, then that's personal for her. And she feels that. She feels like she's not doing enough, she's not good enough, or she feels like, and that this is, well, if you think I'm this, well, what about how I think about you?
Right.
And then that places blame, and so nothing goes anywhere.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, though. That's why I'd rather walk away with my dignity intact than stay and fight you like a cow. I'm just not doing it.
Right.
I'm just not. I've had too much experience in my life, and it was a point in my life where, coming up in Philly, it was kind of like, it was rough. So you kind of like, you kind of like, you did this to me, I'm gonna do this back to you, and I had to unlearn so many bad habits.
Right. It's fight or flight, right? Yeah. Especially when you're coming up in an environment.
Yeah.
That's a potentially a life endangering situation, and we grew up like that, coming from the city of Philly, and so I feel you, and you don't want to feel disrespected, and a lot of times in our arguments and our disagreements, we feel disrespected. We feel unloved. We get angry. But the truth is yeah, we're disrespecting. What does Scripture say about that? Wives, respect your husbands.
Right.
Husbands, love your wives. Right?
Right.
Because God knows how men feel about when they, how angry they can get when they feel disrespected. That's why you got so many men locked up in prison right now, because they were disrespected. Right. and immediately responded instead of taking some time right. to collect their feelings. But no, you get right into that fighting back that individual that may have disrespected you. Could have been just a misunderstanding. But you know, when you've taken a life, or you beat somebody up and you got some charges against you, the judge don't want to hear he disrespected you. The judge is going to look at you and say, well, you did this. Right. You took it to another level. And so it's men and guys, I'm gonna say this to you, because if you can express that your significant other, your wife, your girlfriend hurt you, or you're feeling lonely and you're disappointed in their behavior, or you're frustrated with them, and you tell them they're lonely or something like that, and they're saying, I don't care, if they give you a response like they don't care about your feelings, or they don't give a fuck about you or what you got to say, mm-hmm. dude, that's verbal abuse. That's emotional abuse. Like they can't hear you say to them those things, and then they're going to call you out of your name. They're going to call you less than a man. Oh, you're a punk because you all those things. And men don't express themselves that way because they fear that they're going to be vulnerable, and that could potentially happen to them. So they're not safe. So if they don't express it because they don't feel safe. If they do express it, and if they do express it and it's turned back on them like they're not manly enough, oh, that hits hard. And so men can be emotionally and verbally abused as well by our wives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but here's the thing. I feel like this. I feel like men have to know their limits, right? And be okay, right? Stop basing your limits or your emotional limitations based on what she thinks of you. I've had enough women tell me, oh, you're doing too much. You just want to walk away. No, I always say I'm like an instruction. I'm like a robot. I come with an instruction man.
But that's like for men, in a committed relationship, in a marriage, mm-hmm. what their wives feel about them is that runs deep. Yeah. I mean, and that it can be a really good feeling, a really good relationship if their wives think highly of them. Like that's all we, that's what we want. We want our wives and our spouses to think highly of us. We want them to feel like, we want them to think that, number one, we're treating them like a queen, but we want to be the king too. We want to be their all, and so that runs deep in men. Like, what you just said. And I mean, for a lot of men that really truly care and love their wives, that is the core of why they do what they do, why they work all those long hours, why they put in that sacrifice for their family, because they want the recognition and the love and the respect from their wives.
There was a sister, a Christian woman, she talked about, she had, I can't remember her name, but she was on the gram, and her conversation was, she said, I have to learn to listen to my man and listen to his needs, and I have to know how to read his wants and needs. And I was like, oh my God. So she said there was this one thing, he came in late, and this, that, and the other. She was very mad because he almost missed dinner and he was late. But something told her to just sit down and serve him, and then remove him, like sit down and serve him and have a conversation with him. Like, hey, I know things are rough. I missed you, this, that, and the other. It made the difference because she said his response was, hey, there was a traffic accident. I sat in traffic. I had a hard day at work. I had all this other stuff. He had all this stuff in her mind, but he was able to give that to her.
Well, Scripture says a kind word turns away wrath.
Yeah, but a lot of women don't understand that. Like I always say, for me, I can't date a Christian. I can't date a woman without faith.
Right.
Because for me, if a woman don't know her position with God, she ain't gonna know her position with me. I've been there, done that.
Right.
I've been there, done that. And then I used to think like, oh, if we go to church together, we do all this, we'll be good. But I find that women who are not, like, you can't, this is not Fred Flintstone. You can't drag no woman to Christ, right? You can't drag her to religion. She gotta want to have a relationship with God. Like, she gotta want to have her own relationship,
A personal relationship,
right? Because see, I had something, and I'm not perfect, and I had the one girl I was dating, one, and she told me, she was like, "Hey, you think you so perfect, you want to," and I was like, "It's not about perfection. What are you talking about?" But see, I was her example of what church was. So whenever I messed up, she wasn't a godly woman, so I became an ungodly man. So if I went somewhere and I got, had a cigar and was acting up or having fun with friends, you're doing too much. You're not acting like a Christian man.
You're judged.
Right. So I wasn't in a space where I was covered by a godly woman. You see what I mean? Yeah. So that whole thing when I said to you about the girl coming home, the man coming home for dinner, that's very important, man. It's very important that you have a godly woman and that you have a woman that's actively and listening with love. Like, the idea is that I remember we was having this discussion with a friend. I told you I had almost died, dog. I had two of my cousins and one of my brethren come over, and we were having a conversation, and it was two of my cousins and three of my brethren, right? And we were all on the kitchen island, and everybody's in their 40s and 50s going through the war.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I said, number one, I said, listen, I said, the devil is always busy. Mm-hmm. I said, because he has a foothold, and it's because we give it to him. Like, we're not listening to each other. We're not catering to each other. We're not following biblical context. Like, like the greatest trick the devil ever did was to let you believe he didn't exist.
Yep.
Right. So when you go on all this stuff and you going on, we was just talking, and he was like, yeah, and it's good brothers. And I'm not saying that they're without fault, but like, these are men who are doing everything for their wives. And two of the virgin, it was like the wives are bad with money, so he has to work more. And he's like telling her, like, stop spending, like let me control the money. And she's like, I don't want to be controlled. But she goes out and spends half her check on goods and everything that nobody needs but her.
Right.
You know what I mean? And she wants to reupholster her leather seat in her Benz. She'll order this kit, like, if she wants a purse, like, she'll save for a $3,000 to $6,000 purse, like stuff like that. And he's sitting there taking care of the family, paying for vacation. He doesn't have a partnership.
Yeah.
But we were talking about all this
selfishness.
Yeah, but we were talking about all this in relationship, man, about how these women nowadays, a lot of women, not only can they not listen, right, they're not hearing themselves.
Well, I think that, yes, that has a lot of issues that if they were in a relationship with a godly woman, that wouldn't be the case. Mm-hmm. 'Cause the Bible talks a lot about contentment. And especially, looking towards their future and the money that they could be spending in retirement, the money that they could be spending more on family. And, it's not to say that we can't have nice things, but, that's excessive.
Right.
Those wants and desires. I mean, you can't take any of that stuff with you when you go to heaven, right? Do I like nice things? Yes. Do I exorbitantly spend for things? No. Because I don't need them, right? But it's a status thing, especially for our people, right? For Black people, it's a status thing. Like you just mentioned, they had a Benz. Like, Benz is the big, one of the largest status symbols for African Americans. I think African Americans buy more Benzes than any other culture in this country, because they want this. They want to be seen as if they've made it, and that's not true. Making it, like, I was in my networking group today, and we were going over this exercise, and it was asking you, what are your, like, 3 wants? And so I have 4. So my 4 F's, I have what's called my 4 F's. right? And so my first one is faith. So because I don't have anything, if this is not right, I can't extend that, right? So my faith is priority number one.
Okay.
Number two is family. I'm family oriented guy. I grew up in a big family, love my family, take care of my kids, want to build a legacy for them, right? So as family, want to support them in anything, and my kids in anything they do. So that's two, right? Because, and then who's going to take care of me when I get old? My family, right? You know,
right.
Number three is my fitness. So faith, family, fitness. I want to not only feel good but look good and have a long lasting life, Lord willing.
You just want to be pretty.
I do. I'm vain. Like I want to go to the beach and look good. And number four is finance, because if I don't have any of those other three things, my finances doesn't matter. If I don't have my health, I can't spend the money that I'll be making. If I don't have my family, I don't have people to spend my finances, my money on. And if I don't have God, because everything comes from Him, I have nothing.
Yeah.
And so, that's the order of operations that I operate under all the time. And so, for me, those earthly things, are exact, especially when they cost a $6,000 pocketbook. That how many times you gonna, like if that was your last pocketbook for the rest of your life, and that was what you gonna wear it every day, then maybe, yeah. But to wear it 2 or 3 times a year, and then it goes into a closet and collects dust, but you want to show people that you have this status symbol that you're above them, or that you made it. It just doesn't make too much sense to me.
Well, it doesn't make sense to anybody, but she's not in that relationship. She's not hearing, right? And she is a woman that believes in God, but she at the same time was not hearing what her husband was saying. She feels as though that it's about her. Like there's a lot of women feel like happy wife, happy life, right? But if you're happy and I'm suffering, where's the joy in that? And how can you be thrilled with that?
Right. How can you be happy in the midst of me suffering?
Right. I don't understand that one. That bothers me. I don't understand that one at all. Like you're okay, right?
I think of it like this: like when Christ picked up his cross,
right,
and he was stumbling and walking towards his death, and his disciples were watching him. They weren't happy. They were agonizing, but the people in the crowds, yeah. So she's like one of those people in the crowds. Yeah, you suffer, and I'm going to get these things. Right. She's like the people in the crowd, not his supporters.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and I don't understand that whole philosophy, because I remember being in a situation before, and I just remember everyone else was okay, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to make my next move, and I said to the person I was with at the time, like, hey, I need to do this because I need to come out of this. I need to move this around. And then I remember she accidentally showing me something, and I remember her having all of this money that she had saved while sitting on my back, and I felt so betrayed, because I was like, I'm sitting there trying to figure everything out, and then you got all this bread, like, and you supposed to be a partner to me. I learned.
She wasn't a partner.
Right.
Yeah.
She wasn't a partner to me. And the thing is that I had to learn, like, my biggest thing is I had to learn to let go of what people are telling me they are, right? And watch what they're showing me they are, right? And the idea is that as a man, if you have any woman in your life and she's not hearing you, you can't save a woman by making her understand.
So
they're not children.
So ladies, and men, we both need to listen better, right? And so try the active listening. So, like for instance, what Chuck just said to me, I would repeat back to make sure that I heard you, validated what you said, ask you, okay, well, Chuck, is there anything else you needed to say? Right. If he says yes, is there more? Then Chuck has the floor open to continue to communicate his feelings. And so I have to listen and continue to repeat back, make sure that I got it. And I asked him, is what I'm saying, is that valid? Again, validating what he said, letting him know that I was listening to him, and then asking him, okay, well, is there more?
Right.
Right. And you have to take yourself out of those feelings now. And then once he says no, if he's finished, then you can say what you need to say. Hopefully, if you heard him or her correctly, there's some hurt there. There's some pain that you caused them. And so you need to, at that point, apologize for how what you said or what you did affected them, right? Mm-hmm. That would be the mature thing to do. That would be the helpful thing for your relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And so, we want relationships to strive and to thrive and for our audience to reconnect. That's why we do this, because we want to help men be able to express themselves. We want women to hear what we're saying, that their husbands are not saying to you because they may not feel safe, or they may not have the communication skills to communicate to you. So we are trying to be that voice in you guys' relationship, a positive one, hopefully at that. And so that's why we're doing this, because Moment of Men is based on just uplifting men to their full potential, especially when it comes to their marriages and relationships.
Yeah, but I think the thing is that men have to start taking on, men have wonderful ideas, right? But we need to stop taking on projects and relationships, because that
No, I know. I got something for you. I got something.
Yeah. I mean, because the thing is that if she's not hearing you, she's not listening, and my dating life, and you just sometimes just shake your head.
Yes, I do.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I was saying, what I've been to, my single life.
So, a few years back, Chuck was in a myriad of situations, and I came to him. I don't know, the Lord just put on my heart. It was like, you can't expect the Lord to put his daughter in the midst of your mess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't, because, and I said to you, would you want your daughter in that situation?
Mm-hmm.
And so you said no. And so if we're looking for, if single men and women, right? And we're looking for the one, if we're Christian, and I said this in one of my other posts, is that, a pastor, one of my pastors was preaching on a Sunday, and he said that, if you're single and you're walking with the Lord, you're walking towards the Lord, you're seeking him out, you're trying to strengthen your personal relationship with him, and you're walking towards the Lord. And you just said this earlier in our show. You don't turn around and drag someone in the same direction that you're walking in, right? You don't do that. What you do when you're walking towards the Lord, you take a look around and you see this people that are walking in the same direction that you're walking in. And those are the individuals that you choose to be with.
Mm-hmm. And just to clarify what Sean was saying, I wasn't reading my Bible and then I was still platonic friends with somebody I used to be intimate with, but I was dating someone, and I was still say hi, or that person would call me about stuff, and I would talk, and then I got checked, because he was like, if you're doing this and this is where you're going, and the goal was to go towards full commitment in Christ, why would you do that? And that's the reason why we have the relationship we have. And I corrected the situation, but it still, for the person I was there, it didn't work out. They had expectations of me that I could not or would not live up to. And it wasn't about they weren't worthy, right? But I am never, ever going to, I'm never going to replace someone's dad, so to speak, right? When I find a godly woman, I find a partner, right? Someone who I want to take care of, and in return, they take care of me. I wasn't
just finding a wife is a good thing.
Right. I want to be covered. I I don't want to feel like I'm a bulletproof vest for something, and I constantly take on the attacks, and I don't have a prayer, or I don't have a partner or a warrior.
Yeah.
I just am not doing it. I did that before, and it hurts.
Yeah.
Because you think that if I give of myself, right, and part of what I do is I always feel guilty because of all the stuff that I've been through before. And I always say to myself, like, who do you think you are? Remember you did this. But that's not what God teaches. When God delivers you from that, when God removes all that from you, God wants you to walk in the path that he set before you. Mm-hmm. And I sometimes look at people and be like, who am I to judge? I went through that. Like, let me talk to them. But I have to start valuing myself more and say, hey, I know what that looks like. And as long as you're there, like, I can't meet you in that space.
I think it's having really high expectations for the individual that is going to be your wife one day, right? Mm-hmm. And good expectations, really good, solid, biblically sound expectation, right? And so someone, number one, that wants to be led, mm-hmm. someone that is that can listen, right? That's the whole thing. The whole reason why we're putting on this episode is someone that can listen. And ladies, I'm gonna put this out to you. Do you listen? Really listen, like deep down to your husband's heart. Like, okay, he may not be saying that he's hurt. He may not be saying that he's lonely, but I know we haven't been intimate in a while. I know we haven't gone out in a while. I know we haven't had fun and just enjoyed each other's company for a while. Maybe that's it. He could be lonely and he's just withdrawing from you because he's trying to connect with you and you're pushing him away. You're ignoring the signs that you already know are there, but you're allowing them to continue because he may have not stepped up and been able to communicate with you his true feelings, right? Men are not going to do that, especially if they don't feel safe, especially if they don't know how to do that. And so men, I challenge you, right? Be bold, be courageous, and go to them and let them know that you're hurt, that you're lonely, that you're frustrated, that you're disappointed in either the finances, like you were saying, with your guy, your intimacy level, with maybe her lack of respect for you and lack of honor towards you, because that's a big thing too. And I talked about earlier, like that's huge for men, is we want to feel like we are your hero, and we need that.
I don't have to be a hero, but I'd be damned if I played the zero.
Shoot, I'm coming riding on a white horse all the time.
I ain't white horse for me. Yeah, that was a song, not my style. No, I can't, and I just honestly, man, I just want a partner. I just want someone to look down when we looking and we talking about making decisions that we making together. Someone I can trust, like someone that when I'm not home, right, my house still runs the same, or my house still, and I guess the thing is that I always see like the love. You can't have two tornadoes in a household, right? Somebody's got to be the rock, the foundation, right?
Right.
And I just
you the tornado?
No.
Okay.
I'm not.
Well, so she can be one, and that's not what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like I've been and tried. I've been with someone, and then, and then when people try to blame their chaotic behaviors on you, I'm just like, I'm just to a point where I just don't argue. I'm like, okay, because you can't for someone who doesn't accept responsibility, right? You just can't. And then, you wanna give people, like, you just wanna, like, I just want, when I see people making or doing things, especially if I've come through so much and I see that it's not gonna lead a path, I just wanna walk up to them and be like, hey, don't do that. That's not gonna lead you to that. Like, I had a sister in church, right? She's telling me she's dating this guy in church, and then she was like, can we go out to dinner? And I was like, no. No, because, you're supposed to be a godly woman, and Like, how do you justify that? Like, you know what I mean? And like now, I just feel like right now, I have I have all these situations to like, hey, like, and I'm just like, no, thank you, because there's nothing of what I want.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm just gonna, and I'm gonna hold out for what I want. Like I just want to be someplace. Like I want.
You're gonna keep you in prayer for that, bro.
Yeah, yeah. And I listen. You know what's funny? I'm gonna tell you as what's funny.
What's that?
Women can call you ugly all day. You ain't my type.
Yeah.
You're too big.
Yeah.
You ain't tall enough. No, right?
Yeah.
Dude, you tell them, shorty, you're not my type. I'm not attracted to you. They have a fit. Every man loves me. I have 30 men that want me. Why you? Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
But I don't understand. What's
that that show where it's like one guy and it's got like 8 women and like they hold balloons and they pop them if they don't whatever that show is. So there was this one episode I saw and the guy was he was like 6'2". He was you know, he was okay looking, but he had a lot going for him. Like, he was a really cool guy, and I felt so bad for him because as soon as he stepped out, all the girls popped their balloons. I mean, he wasn't ugly. He wasn't an ugly dude, but they hadn't got a chance to know him. One of them said that he wasn't tall enough. This dude is 6'2". She's like, oh, well, I'm 6 foot.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, and so your expectations are not realistic.
Right.
You know, you want all this inside of a package, but who that man is probably already taken. It's a very slim pool of men out there. Not to say that women have to settle, not to say that you can't have what you want, but you have to take some things as just superficial things and look into the character of the man and who he stands for, who he is, who he knows he is, what he stands for, and his potential, right?
Yeah, but sure.
That's saying too much.
Yeah. So these women have to be what they're asking for, right? You can't listen.
And see, I don't business with those women. So those women out there that are superficial like that, I can spot you from a mile away, and we can't be friends. Like those women just are like, I get the vibe. Nope, nasty, ignorant, deceitful, unkind, selfish people. Like I can spot that. And
you better at it than I am. I just there.
No,
I'm not really a hoe. I had all these problems, and it's everybody else's fault.
No,
and listen, and I'll say this.
Right.
One of the guys had posted on TikTok and he had posted this interview, and it was a bunch of women talking about their whole phase and how they had legs open in college and how they had all this other stuff and how they moved away from their strict upbringings, right? And it had like 100-something thousand followers.
Yeah.
Women are just watching this stuff, approving this stuff. Because they're talking about how important it is to have a whole phase, right? But then your next show will be why nobody wants to marry you. You know what I mean? Like why you don't want to cover. Like the thing is that every action has a reaction, and every action has consequence, right? You as a woman, you go out here, you give your body, right?
I'm laughing because I'm only laughing is because, you know, when I was in college, that was a thing. Like, you know, and when I was with a therapist one time, and he was like, "Why did you do that?" I was like, "That's what you did. That's how, you know, your boys were like, yo, I'm knocking this off today. I got this one lined up for tomorrow. Got this one for next week." Right. And in college was a mess, and I'm not proud of that time. Right. But you know, no. I'm
only kidding. I'm only kidding.
No.
I'm only kidding. Stop. Don't.
But I think it's a for men it's okay, and for women it's not. And so I can't judge them for going through that and that time in their lives. If if they change, like I've changed, or, you know, we've changed, right? Then that's a good thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
But I can't judge them for that.
I'm not judging them.
Yeah.
But my thing is that you're celebrating that and you're encouraging other women to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So
that's true. That's a good point.
and especially for like women nowadays are looking to be wives, right? So if you're celebrating them, telling them they all need to go through that, right? Remember, you can say what you want, but your vagina stretches, and all these men are just dumping their spirits in, right?
Amen to that.
So
yeah.
In addition to that, when you get to the man you love, you now have all of this sexual prowess in your mind, and
you compare it to
right.
Compare it to.
So now this man, you want to everything this one did, you want him to make up for it. It's just a lot, man. And I just tell you, I don't like the way that we're going into the society. Like the thing is that you know, the Bible says he will find a wife, find a great thing, right? And I don't mind that you've had experiences. I'm not trying to say I would love to find a woman at 50 that's pure. Yeah, but you know, I'm not pure myself, so who the hell am I?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But at the same time, right, I don't want everybody else's left. Like, I don't want to be. I don't want
to just don't like those conversations. I mean, I don't know. I don't need to know about your previous relationships to the point where I don't care to know. You know, I just care to know how we are together in that moment, how we are together. Like, whatever you did before, that's your past, is your past. You know, I'm not going to judge you. God doesn't judge you. If you're with me and you change and you are what I need, then I'm going to be okay with that.
Yeah, but the point is that some women who haven't reached their godly potential, right? And she's not okay with that. She's still carrying around baggage. I talked about this with the previous relationship you were in before, where she had all this hurt, that how she dealt with other men, and so in turn how she dealt with you, how you couldn't be heard. So what I'm saying is you have to learn to deal with that, because if you don't learn to deal with that, you know, the basic thing of the thing today is that really that women have to learn how to actively listen with love and support, right? Be a godly woman, and when you do that, right, is to protect yourself, man. Like, who you give yourself to, who you give yourself to is, and I want a lot of women to ask themselves this: is this person worth me giving myself to, right? In a ways that I have to share with my husband in the future,
right?
You know what I mean? I read something the brother said online. He was like, "Man, honey," to my wife, he said, "I wish God had just told us 10 years ago that we were going to find our wife and she was going to be that perfect person. I wish God worked my way," because he said, "I would have never slept with half these girls. I slept with them because if I would have known that it was going to lead me somewhere down to a victorious, like, godly woman who's protective, I wouldn't have wasted my time to do all that." You know what I mean? And I just think people just need to live in that, to know that, you know, what you want is out there. Like you always said, like, I want to be ready. I always say, I want to be ready for what God is sending me.
Sure.
And we had a situation, we had to talk about something else, and I'm not
ready.
You know, I'm not ready, and I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I don't want to cloud, because if God sends me something,
but let's talk about singleness. Like, you know, if you're single, that gives you the opportunity to do more for His kingdom, because you don't have to worry about that relationship. And it gives Apostle Paul specifically talks about that. Like, okay, no, you don't have to worry about your spouse's desires because you're single. So that gives you more time to work for His kingdom.
I gotta do more than true.
Huh?
I gotta.
Yeah.
I promise God.
Dude, you be. I'm telling you, you be more prevalent in church. She will come walking through that door. You save yourself. You you continue to walk and strengthen your relationship. She will come walk. You don't even have to find her. She gonna come find you. Trust me, brother. And she gonna be the one.
Okay.
Yeah. Because and just working, you know, I found it like really liberating when I was a youth leader. Like I loved it, loved going, you know, talking to my young guys about, you know, Christ, and you know, because I experienced the same thing they do. They didn't want to go to church. They don't want to be in church. Your kids don't want to be in church. Sorry, most of them, the majority of them, but if they have to be there, hopefully they have a good youth leader, right? Because I would be like, yo, I didn't want to be in church when I was your age. I hated church, fall asleep at church. Like, but the seed was being planted, you know, regardless of like, I didn't understand the word because I just couldn't discern it. And most children can't discern it. That's why we have lessons for them. And really, you know, the Bible talks about, you know, sipping on milk versus eating solid food, right? So we put it in the milk form for the kids, scripture in the Bible. But yeah, I loved it. I love serving him. I love being on prayer team, and I miss it. I miss it a lot. But it's very fulfilling when you're doing things for him and his kingdom. It's just like a whole other feeling. Well, so men, if you're not involved in your local churches, trust me, do it. It'll make you feel good. It'll give you purpose. Your wives will see you as a leader. As long as you're taking time to, you know, don't devote all your time to the church and just leave your family alone, but, you know, just a happy medium, and your wives will look at you and know that you're changing, and you will be changed. You will be strengthened through that experience, because you'll surround yourself with other godly men, number one. Yeah.
And I got a lot of stuff going on in work right now. Like that, just like, well, a side note that I'm gonna just continue to pray and leave it in God's hands. But, you know, the thing is that for me, I enjoy right now, I guess, I don't know, man, that it's the space, because like I would try to tell.
You mean the peace?
Yeah, because I remember
peace of not being with anybody right now. Is that what you're saying? Right. Okay.
And I remember having this conversation where the young lady was talking. And I'm like talking, like having a conversation. I'm like sharing about podcasts and what we do. She's like, "Oh, I don't want to hear that." I was like, "Okay, yeah, you be good,
right?" Exactly.
And then they were like, not understand why I didn't want to be bothered, because like you're dismissive.
You're just closed off. Like you're just not open minded. You just totally closed off. How are you gonna deal with that person?
Right.
Especially something that's close to your heart, that this podcast is, and how we're trying to encourage men and empower men.
Right.
You know, that's something that you're passionate about. If she can't hear your dreams and your goals, your path, yeah, that's it.
But she didn't see it that way. She saw it as, I don't want to talk about that. And I just was like, it's very dismissive and disrespectful, and it's okay. Because my thing is that the one thing I learned, right, is that you can share your dream with someone, right?
Uh-huh.
And they may only see it as a nightmare, but the person that you share your dream with will dream with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we started this podcast, like you said, for Moment of Men, for men to stand up, having our moment, having conversations, being Christian men, but still being real, talking about our experiences, talking about women and going through. And I mean, I know I'm so happy for you, like learning and being heard and going through all that. I really am. And, you know, I just, to a point where I don't know where God's taking me, but I trust.
Amen.
You know what I mean? And I say, you know, and I apply all these principles, and I want to say something that I hate, that bothers me too, more so like when you now have a conversation and you're talking to women, and it's like almost like they want to make you like effeminate when you're like, nah, shorty, I'm good. Like
you said that in our last podcast about, you know, the women stepping into their femininity, but you know, being in their masculinity all the time, and why would a husband or a man want to come home to a masculine woman?
Right, that's the thing. But my thing is that the power is in your femininity. Like a man comes home, right? And listen, we know we're not perfect.
So here's the thing, because we talked about submission, right? Being, wives submit to your husbands. And so when you're in entanglement, right?
You just say
you're in an argument, you're in a heated discussion.
entanglement.
You have to
Entanglement.
do the submitting at that time to hear. Stop! I'm trying to talk, and it's going to be. All right, let Chuck finish his day.
I told you when you keep thinking. I keep thinking about entanglement. Then I think about that one. Then I think about what's the young boy's
I
name?
don't know. I don't care.
Him and Rick Ross did one. He used to sing that song "Broken Road."
My point is,
Anyway,
be submissive in those conflicts and listen. That's my point.
okay. So listen, be a godly woman, and listen, y'all think, and a lot of women think that when they're on a good girl status that we're not seeing them, and they think that they got to be on this whole phase for us to notice it. We may get you noticed. That may get you noticed, but it won't keep our attention. The thing is that I'm telling you, man, that to have a woman that knows how to caress you when you walk in, and I always say this, how I'm gonna know when it's right for me. Like I want a woman that we both work 12-hour shifts at the end of the day. She still wants to rub my back.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not about her. Like that's not about me not respecting her. That's me feeling valued and respect.
Yeah.
Because then I turn around and I want to do more for her.
You do it 10 times.
Yeah. Because it's like, wait a minute, we both work 12. You want to rub my shoulder?
Yeah.
Yes, hon.
Yeah.
I know you have, man.
And I want to say to all the women out there that are doing a phenomenal job as wives, husbands, to cherish those individuals because they are rare, so rare. Adore them.
I think they know.
Take care of them. Just spoil them. Take them out. Give them flowers. Study them. Figure out their needs and take care of those needs. Man, that's an awesome thing that you have, and I so appreciate that that you had that, and I'm envious of it. I think we both are. So, ladies, if that's you, good job, great job.
Let's say great job.
Yeah, hell yeah, great job. Good job. What am I supposed to say? This? What you want me to do?
Entanglement.
Oh, stop it. So, this will probably conclude this episode of Moment of Men, unless you got something else to say, Chuck.
No, I just want to say this, like, ladies, know who you are. Tough times, ladies, even in tough times, continue to listen, continue to be the wife you are. And sometimes, the rewards don't come immediately, right? But as your husband sees God, he will also see you.
Yeah.
So
I would also encourage, if you guys are having issues with your relationship with listening, get some professional help. Go see a therapist. Marriage counseling is a great thing, and it can prolong and strengthen your marriage. So, all right, we're out.
Moment of Men.
Moment of Men.